8 Stoic principles that will change how you see life forever. Have you ever felt like you're constantly reacting to life instead of truly living it? Like you're being tossed around by circumstances, emotions, and other people's opinions? What if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, ancient philosophers discovered principles that could completely transform how you experience every single day? These aren't complex theories or abstract concepts. They're practical principles that have guided emperors, soldiers, and everyday people through wars, plagues, personal tragedies, and triumphs. Today, we're going to explore 8 Stoic principles that will fundamentally change how you see life. These principles have personally transformed my perspective, and I've witnessed them do the same for countless others. Before we begin, I want you to understand something important. This isn't about becoming emotionless or cold. It's about developing an inner strength that allows you to navigate life with wisdom, clarity, and genuine peace. So take a moment to set aside your distractions and let's embark on this journey together. By the end of this video, you'll have tools that can help you face whatever life throws your way. Principle 1. Understand what you can and cannot control. This is perhaps the most fundamental principle in all of Stoic philosophy. And once you truly grasp it, your entire life will change. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who was born a slave, said that some things are within our control, and some things are not. What's within your control? Your thoughts, your actions, your responses, your effort, your character. What's not within your control? Other people's opinions, the past, the future, external events, outcomes. Think about how much energy you waste every single day worrying about things you cannot control. You stress about whether people will like you, whether your project will succeed, whether the economy will crash, whether it will rain on your vacation. Here's the truth, all that worry changes nothing when you focus on what you cannot control. You give away your power, you become a victim of circumstances, but when you shift your focus to what you actually can control, you reclaim that power. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding that you will no longer waste a single minute worrying about things outside your control. How would that feel? You can't control whether you get the promotion, but you can control the quality of your work and your attitude. You can't control whether someone loves you, but you can control whether you act with kindness and integrity. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you respond to being stuck in it. This principle is liberating because it shows you exactly where to direct your energy every time you feel stressed, anxious, or frustrated. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, then take action. Do what needs to be done. If no, then let it go. I know this sounds simple, but it's not easy. It requires constant practice. We've been conditioned to worry about everything, to try to control outcomes, to obsess over what others think. But that conditioning has made us miserable. The Stoics understood something profound that modern psychology is only now confirming. Trying to control the uncontrollable is the primary source of human suffering. When you accept what you cannot control, you stop fighting reality. You stop exhausting yourself in battles you cannot win. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to control everything, you often find that you have more influence than you thought, because you're directing your energy where it actually matters. Start practicing this today. Notice when you're worrying about something outside your control. Acknowledge it, let it go, and redirect your attention to what you can actually do. This single principle, properly applied, will transform your relationship with stress, anxiety, and frustration. Principle 2. Embrace obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, wrote, "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes. The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is one of the most powerful concepts in Stoicism. We typically see obstacles as problems, as things that prevent us from getting what we want. We curse the flat tire, the difficult boss, the rejection, the failure. But the Stoics saw obstacles differently. They saw every obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtue, to develop strength, to become better when you face a setback. It's an opportunity to practice resilience when someone treats you poorly. It's an opportunity to practice patience and compassion when you fail. It's an opportunity to practice humility and learn. The obstacle isn't blocking your path. It is the path. Think about it. Almost everything valuable you've learned came through difficulty. The times you grew the most were probably the times you struggled. Your obstacles have shaped you more than your successes. So why do we spend so much energy trying to avoid difficulties? The Stoic approach is radically different. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, see yourself as a student of life. Every challenge, every difficulty, every obstacle is curriculum designed to make you stronger, wiser, more capable. This doesn't mean you should seek out problems or enjoy suffering. It means you should change your relationship with difficulty when you embrace obstacles as opportunities. You stop being defeated by them. A business failure becomes a lesson in resilience and wisdom. A health challenge becomes an opportunity to develop courage and perspective. A difficult relationship becomes a chance to practice boundaries and communication. Nothing that happens to you is inherently good or bad. It's your interpretation that makes it so. The Stoics understood that we don't control what happens to us, but we absolutely control what we make of what happens. Two people can experience the same setback. One is destroyed by it, the other is strengthened. The difference isn't in the circumstance, it's in the interpretation and response. Starting today, practice reframing your obstacles when something goes wrong. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself, how can this make me better? What can I learn from this? How can I use this? This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight, but with practice it becomes automatic. And when it does, your entire experience of life transforms. You stop being fragile, you become anti-fragile. You actually get stronger from difficulties. This is the power of embracing obstacles as opportunities. Principle 3, practice negative visualization. This might sound counterintuitive in our culture of positive thinking, but hear me out. The Stoics practiced something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This means regularly imagining losing the things and people you value before you dismiss this as depressing. Understand what it actually does when you imagine losing something. You appreciate it more while you have it. When you imagine something going wrong, you prepare yourself mentally so you're not devastated if it happens. Seneca advised imagining losing your job, your health, your relationships, not to torture yourself, but to practice gratitude and build resilience. Here's how this works. Practically each morning, spend a few minutes imagining potential difficulties that could arise. Imagine your car breaking down, your presentation going poorly, a friend being upset with you. This isn't about obsessing or catastrophizing. It's about calmly preparing. Then when these things don't happen, you feel grateful. And when they do happen, you're not blindsided. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca said, because we've already mentally rehearsed difficulties. We handle them better when they arise. Negative visualization also combats one of our biggest problems: taking things for granted. You have relationships, possessions, freedoms, and opportunities that others would do anything for. But because you have them, you stop noticing them, you stop appreciating them. When you regularly imagine losing these things, you snap out of complacency. Imagine waking up tomorrow and your partner is gone. Imagine losing your health, your home, your freedom. This isn't morbid, it's realistic. These things are temporary and uncertain. When you truly internalize this, you stop taking them for granted. You treat people better, you savor experiences more, you complain less. You realize that this moment right now, with all its imperfections, is precious because it won't last. Another benefit of negative visualization is that it reduces anxiety. We're often anxious because we haven't mentally prepared for difficulties. We're in denial about what could go wrong. When you calmly consider worst-case scenarios, you realize two things. First, most of them aren't as catastrophic as you feared. Second, you could handle them if they happened. This is empowering. You're not at the mercy of fate. You're prepared to practice negative visualization. Spend 5 minutes each morning. Imagine a few things going wrong or being taken away. Don't dwell in fear. Just calmly consider the possibilities, then return to the present with renewed appreciation for what you have and renewed confidence that you can handle what comes. This ancient practice might seem strange, but it's profoundly effective at cultivating both gratitude and resilience. Principle 4. Live according to nature. The Stoics frequently spoke about living according to nature. But what does that actually mean? It doesn't mean becoming a hermit in the woods or rejecting technology. Living according to nature means understanding what we are as human beings and aligning our lives with that understanding. We are rational, social creatures capable of virtue. Living according to nature means developing our rationality, using reason to guide our actions. It means fulfilling our social nature, contributing to our communities and treating others well. It means cultivating the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When we live contrary to our nature, we suffer. When we act without thinking, when we isolate ourselves, when we behave unjustly or without self-control, we feel the consequences. Modern life often pulls us away from our nature. We're encouraged to react emotionally rather than think rationally. We're increasingly isolated despite being more connected than ever. We're pushed toward excess rather than moderation. Living according to nature is about returning to what we fundamentally are. It's about recognizing that certain things are good for human beings and certain things aren't. Virtue is good because it aligns with our rational nature. Vice is bad because it contradicts it. Excess is harmful. Moderation is beneficial. Isolation damages us. Community nourishes us. This principle gives you a compass for decision-making when faced with a choice. Ask yourself, does this align with my nature as a rational, virtuous being? Does this help me become wiser, more courageous, more temperate? Or does this pull me toward irrationality, excess, selfishness, or weakness? Living according to nature also means accepting the natural order of things. We are born, we live, we die. This is natural. Change is inconstant. This is natural. Difficulties arise. This is natural. When we fight against the natural order, we create unnecessary suffering. When we accept it, we find peace. This doesn't mean passive resignation. It means working with reality rather than against it. Understanding that certain things are part of being human and we can handle them. To practice living according to nature, regularly reflect on your choices. Are you developing your rational capacity or letting emotions and impulses control you? Are you contributing to your community or only serving yourself? Are you practicing virtue or sliding into vice? Are you accepting what's natural or fighting reality? Align yourself with your nature, and you'll find that life flows more smoothly. You'll experience less internal conflict, more integrity, more peace. Principle 5. Focus on the present moment. How much of your life do you actually experience? Most people spend the majority of their time either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. They miss the only time that actually exists right now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. The past is gone. You cannot change it. The future hasn't happened. You cannot control it all. You have is this moment, and this moment is where life happens, where action is possible, where experience occurs. When you're constantly in your head, replaying the past or rehearsing the future, you're not really living. You're in a kind of half-existence, disconnected from reality. The Stoics understood That present moment awareness is essential for good living. When you're focused on the present, you can actually respond to what's happening. You can see clearly, think rationally, and act appropriately. When you're lost in thought about past or future, you're reactive, confused, ineffective. Moreover, the present moment is all you need to be virtuous. You can't be courageous yesterday or tomorrow, only right now. You can't be kind in the past or future, only in this moment. Virtue exists only in present action. This principle is also practical. Most of our suffering exists in our thoughts about past or future, not in present reality. Right now, in this moment, are you okay? Usually the answer is yes. It's our thoughts about what happened or what might happen that cause distress. When you return to the present moment, that distress often dissolves to practice. Present moment. Focus. Start noticing when your mind wanders to past or future. Gently bring it back to now. What are you doing right now? What can you see, hear, feel, taste, smell? Bring your attention to direct sensory experience. This is where life actually happens. Another practice is single tasking. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you talk to someone, give them your full attention. Modern life encourages constant distraction, multitasking, divided attention, but this prevents you from fully experiencing anything. The Stoics would see this as a form of death living, but not really being present for your own life. Present moment. Focus also improves your effectiveness. When you give your full attention to what you're doing, you do it better. Scattered attention produces scattered results. This doesn't mean never planning or learning from the past. It means doing those activities consciously in the present, not getting lost in rumination or anxiety. Plan when it's time to plan. Learn from the past. When you consciously reflect, then return to the present moment where life is actually happening. This simple shift in focus can transform your entire experience. You'll find more peace, more clarity, more effectiveness. You'll actually be present for your own life. Principle 6. Practice. Voluntary discomfort in our comfort-obsessed culture. This principle might seem strange or even masochistic, but the Stoics regularly practice voluntary discomfort for very practical reasons. Seneca would occasionally sleep on a hard floor, eat simple food, and wear rough clothing. He wasn't punishing himself. He was training. Voluntary discomfort serves several purposes. First, it expands your comfort zone and builds resilience. When you voluntarily experience discomfort, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. This makes you less afraid of potential hardships. Second, it reduces your dependence on comfort. When you need everything to be comfortable, you become fragile. You can't handle even minor inconveniences. When you regularly experience discomfort, you become robust. Third, it increases your appreciation for comfort when you have it. The warm shower feels amazing after the cold one. The meal tastes better after the fast. Comfort that's constant becomes invisible. Fourth, it builds discipline and self-control. Every time you choose discomfort over comfort, you strengthen your ability to do hard things. This carries over into every area of life. Practical ways to practice voluntary discomfort include taking cold showers, fasting periodically, exercising when you don't feel like it, sitting in silence instead of constant entertainment, wearing lighter clothing. In cold weather, sleeping without your usual comforts. Occasionally, the key is to do these things voluntarily, not because you have to, but because you choose to. This creates a sense of control and agency. You're not at the mercy of circumstances. You're training yourself. When you practice voluntary discomfort regularly, you transform your relationship with difficulty. You stop avoiding it and start seeing it as training. You become less fragile, more capable, more confident. You realize that you can handle much more than you thought. This is incredibly empowering. Modern life is designed to be as comfortable as possible, but constant comfort makes us weak, mentally and physically. We become unable to handle even minor difficulties. The Stoics understood that strength comes from challenge, not from ease, so they regularly challenged themselves. They didn't seek suffering, but they didn't avoid all discomfort either. They saw discomfort as a tool for development. Try this. Start small, take a cold shower tomorrow. Morning, skip a meal and experience hunger. Sit in an uncomfortable position while you work. Notice what happens. You'll probably discover that the discomfort is manageable, maybe even invigorating, and you'll feel stronger for having chosen it over time. Increase the difficulty practice. Voluntary discomfort regularly. Watch as you become more resilient, more disciplined, less dependent on perfect conditions. This ancient practice is more relevant than ever in our comfort-addicted world. Principle 7. Remember your mortality. The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember death. They kept reminders of mortality, not to be morbid, but to live better. When you truly internalize that your time is limited, everything changes. You stop wasting time on trivial matters. You stop postponing important things. You treat people better. You savor experiences more. You live with urgency and purpose. Marcus Aurelius would regularly remind himself that he could die at any moment. This wasn't depressing, it was liberating. It freed him from petty concerns and helped him focus on what truly mattered. We live as if we have unlimited time. We postpone, we procrastinate, we take people for granted, we engage in meaningless conflicts and waste energy on things that don't matter, all because we forget that we will die. When you remember your mortality, you realize that this conversation might be your last with this person. This day might be your last day. This opportunity might never come again. This creates urgency, but also appreciation. Everything becomes more vivid, more precious, more meaningful. Remembering death also provides perspective on difficulties. In 100 years, you'll be dead, and no one will remember this problem. Does it really matter as much as you think? Most of our anxieties and frustrations shrink when viewed from the perspective of mortality. To practice memento mori, spend a few minutes each morning remembering that you will die. Imagine that today is your last day. How would you spend it? What would matter? What wouldn't? Then live accordingly. This isn't about being morbid or anxious. It's about clarity and priority. Death is the one certainty we all face. Pretending it won't happen doesn't make it go away. It just makes us complacent. Accepting it makes us alive. Another practice is to occasionally attend funerals or visit cemeteries. These remind us viscerally of our mortality. They pull us out of our daily trance and wake us up to reality. When you truly accept that you will die, you stop living on autopilot. You make conscious choices about how to spend your limited time. You become more present, more intentional, more grateful. This is the gift of memento mori. It transforms death from something terrifying into something clarifying. It becomes a teacher helping you live better. Principle 8. Cultivate an inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius wrote about building an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that cannot be touched by external circumstances. This is perhaps the ultimate goal of Stoic practice: to develop an inner core of stability, peace and strength that remains unshaken. No matter what happens, the world is chaotic, unpredictable, often harsh, but you can create within yourself a space of calm, clarity and strength. This inner citadel is built through all the practices we've discussed, focusing on what you can control, embracing obstacles, practicing negative visualization, living according to nature, focusing on the present, practicing discomfort, remembering mortality. All of these build mental and emotional resilience. They create an inner foundation that cannot be shaken by external events. When you have this inner citadel, you still experience difficulties, but they don't destroy you. You remain centered, calm, capable of responding wisely. This doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means emotions don't control you. This doesn't mean you don't care about outcomes. It means your peace doesn't depend on them. You care deeply, but you remain free. This is true freedom, not having everything go, your way, but being okay, regardless of how things go. The inner citadel is built slowly through consistent practice. Every time you face a difficulty without being destroyed, you add a stone to the fortress. Every time you choose virtue over vice, you strengthen the walls. Every time you return to the present moment, you deepen the foundation over time. You become increasingly unshakable, not because nothing bothers you, but because you have the internal resources to handle whatever comes. This is what the Stoics called tranquility, not the absence of challenges, but inner peace despite them. To build your inner citadel, practice daily. Engage with Stoic principles. Regularly journal about your experiences and responses. Notice when you're shaken and use it as information about where you need to strengthen. Read Stoic texts. To reinforce these ideas, surround yourself with people who share these values over time. You'll notice that things that used to devastate you, barely register difficulties that used to consume you, become manageable. You'll find yourself responding to challenges with wisdom rather than panic. This is the power of the inner citadel. It's not built overnight, but it's absolutely worth building. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Conclusion: we've explored 8 Stoic principles that can fundamentally transform how you see life, understanding what you can and cannot control, embracing obstacles as opportunities, practicing negative visualization, living according to nature, focusing on the present moment, practicing voluntary discomfort, remembering your mortality, cultivating an inner citadel. These aren't just philosophical concepts. They're practical tools that have guided people through the most difficult circumstances. Imaginable emperors in war, philosophers in exile, soldiers facing death, ordinary people facing ordinary difficulties. These principles work because they're based on something fundamental: human nature and the nature of reality. They teach you to work with reality rather than against it, to develop inner strength rather than depending on external circumstances, to live with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. Implementing these principles isn't easy. It requires consistent practice, conscious effort, and patience. You won't master them overnight, but every day you practice them, you become stronger, clearer, more at peace. You'll notice changes gradually. Situations that used to upset you, difficulties you couldn't handle, become manageable. You'll feel more in control, not of external events, but of yourself. You'll experience more genuine peace, not because everything's going well, but because you're okay either way. This is the promise of Stoicism. Not a perfect life, but a good one. Not the absence of difficulty, but the strength to face it. Not the guarantee of happiness, but the tools to find tranquility. If you've watched this far, it means you're serious about growth. I encourage you to choose one principle and focus on it for the next week. Practice it daily. Notice what changes. Then add another principle. Slowly integrate these practices into your life. Read the original Stoic texts, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, Epictetus's Discourses, Seneca's letters. Join communities of people practicing these principles. Make Stoicism not just something you know, but something you do. The ancient Stoics faced wars, plagues, political chaos, personal tragedies, yet they found peace, wisdom, and strength. You face your own challenges in your own time, but the same principles that guided them can guide you. The wisdom is available, the practices are simple. The only question is, will you do the work? Will you commit to building that inner citadel? Will you practice these principles daily? Will you transform how you see life? The choice, as always, is yours. That's what makes it powerful. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoic wisdom. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit. Subscribe for more content on practical philosophy. Leave a comment sharing which principle spoke to you most. Remember, you're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you know. And with these principles, you have everything you need to face whatever comes. The Stoics believed that philosophy isn't just something to study, it's something to live. Starting today with these 8 principles, you can begin living with more wisdom, more strength, more peace. This is the Stoic way. This is how you change how you see life forever. The power is in your hands. Use it wisely